Welcome to Navigating the Customer Experience. Want to improve your organization's customer service? Looking for insider tips to knock your customer socks off? Then you're in the right place. Here's your host, Yannick Grant.
Welcome to Navigating the Customer Experience. On today's episode, our guest is Jim Oliver. Jim founded Create Tailwind in 1988 in Denver, Colorado. Originally a full-service financial planning firm, Jim and his team weathered two major corrections on Wall Street and pivoted Create Tailwind's focus to building wealth beyond Wall Street. Teaching clients to create wealth without Wall Street brokers and financial planners took off. To most people, becoming their own banker was something they couldn't envision. Most people park their money in qualified plans or with a broker and hope that the money grows. Jim reminds his clients that hope is not a strategy. He teaches his clients that becoming their own banker means they accumulate money and they deploy it to make it even more money. This is the mind shift. Under Jim's leadership, Create Tailwind exploded to become a multi-location, nationally recognized firm, helping thousands of individuals and businesses around the United States. So without further delay, sit back, plug your earphones in, and let's jump right into this conversation with Jim. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk to you and talk to the audience and talk about how to serve customers and clients better.
Awesome. All right. So we always like to give our guests an opportunity to share with our listeners a little bit about their journey, how they got to where they are today. So could you take some time and share that with our listeners, Jim?
Absolutely. So I was born in Los Angeles, and I have 5 siblings, and I was a middle child, but I was given up for adoption. And this is kind of the PG version, but my birth mother said that she was raped and her husband thought that she had an affair. I found out at 55 years old that he was actually my father. But I grew up in foster care, and then I grew up in a very poor area of Los Angeles, and I became fascinated with money. And I also became fascinated with business owners because I started working in a casket factory when I was 13 years old, swinging a hammer, and I watched the business owner, and I knew that he lived on the hill of Palos Verdes, which was a foreign country to me. It was where people had wealth, they had abundance, they had all of these things that the people in my neighborhood, they didn't have any of those things. And I really just was driven by do those people that live on the hill know and by the beach know and in Beverly Hills know that the people that live in Inglewood and neighborhoods like that they don't know. And I went to school, did everything the way that I was supposed to, learned about Wall Street and investments. And I did that. And I was very successful at building a financial planning firm. But then I realized that my clients weren't getting wealthy in Wall Street. And I analyzed all of my clients, and I threw out all the ones that got lucky. They were the janitor at Google, and they just, made millions of dollars. I threw the lucky ones out, and I said, what is it that my clients, my really wealthy clients, what have they done to become wealthy? And it came down to 2 things: business owners and real estate. And I changed my whole focus to teach people how to be business owners and how to own real estate and how to build cash flow and assets instead of Wall Street instruments and government controlled plans.
All right. Now, Jim, could you take some time to share with our listeners a little bit about your company? And, I know I read about it in the bio and in terms
Yeah.
of what you help them doing, but, just share with us what are some of the value added opportunities that you are offering to your clients?
Yeah. So the other thing that I realized is that every financial planner in the world is trying to sell something to their prospects, clients, customers. And I didn't like that. I didn't want to sell. So what I decided is that the reason that I decided to personally start to build cash flow instead of assets instead of instruments, and not try to build up this lump sum nest egg, is I became more and more educated about cash flow and assets and banking and becoming my own banker and how I could control the banking function in my life. And so I decided that what I would do is I would just educate other people. So the way that we serve our clients and really help them understand the landscape out there and how to build wealth is we educate them. We have a community that's Create Tailwind community, and it's Create Tailwind because we're all fighting a financial headwind, and I'm showing you how to turn that around so that wind will actually push you forward instead of fight against your progress. And at the community, Create Tailwind, we just teach people. We teach people, and the community members teach each other. But we have courses, we have discussions, we have book recommendations, we have book reviews, we have all of these different things that is intended to do one thing: educate our customers, and anybody really that is interested. Anybody can join the community for free, and they learn about taxes and how to be more tax invisible. They learn about becoming their own bank, how a bank works, and how you can control the banking function in your life instead of the commercial bank. How your need for finance over your lifetime is much greater than your need for investment. All of these things we're basically teaching people so that if they choose, they can change their mindset and they can change their path to where they're on the path of wealth instead of the path of financial slavery like most people are.
All right. What are some of the key things that you try to do with your clients in terms of supporting them? I mean, I know you offer the courses and you're teaching them the theory, but let's say, for example, you're working with a client who this mindset that you're trying to encourage or envision, it's not clicking for them. What are some strategies or techniques that you utilize to kind of get those persons on board, to transition them from where they are to where you want them to be?
That's a great question. And what we do is we do Zoom meetings. Even way before COVID, we did Zoom meetings, and originally it was WebEx back in the day. And we will get on there and we will do Q&A. Whatever questions you have, whatever things aren't making sense. And I have this board that I draw on. It's a graphics board, and I find that people learn visually a lot more than they learn verbally. And so, like, when you're thinking about money and the way money flows and the way that money works, they need to see numbers, they need to see the flow. And so I draw that out, or the team draws that out for them, and they can see it and they can say, hey, but I don't understand this, I don't understand that. They can ask any question they want. We do that individually, and one-on-one on a Zoom meeting, so you don't have to ask the question in front of a group. We also occasionally do live Q&A meetings where the community will ask questions live and we answer those questions live. And so that's really the big focus is that. And we're always building more content to help our clients understand what they need financially out there in the world, and how to protect themselves and their families and their businesses.
That's very awesome. Okay. Now, Jim, you've been doing this for quite a bit of years now. What are some things that you found tend to be, give me 3 things that you find tend to be general obstacles that prevent persons from reaching their maximum potential when it comes to wealth. Of course,
That's a,
and then you listen to all of these podcasts and you listen to all of these or read these books and they say, oh, there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy.
yeah.
How do you get people? Because if you look them up in the Oxford Dictionary, they pretty much have the same meaning. So, how do you differentiate?
Yeah. So the is first is I show them what is happening now. If you put money in a 401k or an IRA or some government-backed program that has rules, penalties, all this stuff, or if you put money in Wall Street, here's what's happening to it. Here's how inflation works. Here's how fees and expenses inside those funds work. Here's how commissions work. And so it's kind of like if you know what's happening, you'll know what to do. So the first thing, if somebody doesn't realize what's happening to their money, I have to show them how a bank works. And so we kind of show them what really is going on. The second thing is that the second obstacle is that we've been filled with noise. And the funny thing is, I heard this number, and I really think that it's accurate, is that we see 5,000 marketing messages a day. Now, it could be on TV, it could be a logo on somebody's shirt, but all of that is designed to get our money to flow away from us. We see a shirt that we like on TV and and it has the logo on it, and you think, I want that shirt. I want those shoes. Somebody is wearing shoes. Or driving a car. If you think of all the input, all of that noise every day, but there's nothing that's designed to help us increase our cash flow. It's designed to get us to flow our money away from us to someone else. And the difference between wealthy people and poor people is wealthy people get money to flow to them, and poor people, all their money flows away from them. And so that's the second obstacle. And then the third obstacle is, okay, I understand what's happening. I get that I've been taught the wrong things about money, but I don't have anybody to help me. I don't have anybody to help me get from where I am to where I want to be. So that's the third thing that I would say, is that you have to find a coach. Whatever community that you're in, it doesn't matter whether you're in a lower income community, inner city, rural, it doesn't matter. There are people in that community that are buying assets, that own the apartment complexes, the mobile home parks, the RV parks, the businesses. They own those things, and they are more than happy to help you if you ask. So the third thing, and what I really believe that you have to have, is you have to have a guide. You have to have a coach. If you think about it, in every movie that you've ever seen, the person that has a problem meets a guide. They meet a coach, and that coach helps them overcome their dilemma. Tiger Woods, the greatest coach or greatest golfer of all time, he has a coach. And the reason is that so the coach can help him learn how to do what he does better and better and better, and give him the confidence. So those are the three things that I believe that are obstacles for people to grow their wealth and have everything in life that they want, and have that abundant mindset that is limitless in creating cash flow to them.
All right. Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Jim.
You're welcome.
Now, Jim, could you also share with us what's the one online resource, tool, website, or app that you absolutely can't live without in your business?
Yeah, well, I would say that it's Zoom, because that's how we communicate with our clients. And there are other competitors, but I find Zoom to be the easiest for my clients and customers to use. It doesn't require that you join or log in or anything else. You can just go to the zoom.us and plug in the meeting and plug in the password if there is one, and you're in the meeting. And you could be meeting with, anybody at any time, 24/7, and you could see the person. The person can share and use a whiteboard, and they can do all kinds of things. So that's the one thing that I wouldn't be able to operate my business without.
All right. Can you also share with our listeners maybe one or two books that have had a great impact on you? It could be a book that you read a very long time ago, or even one that you've read recently.
Okay, so I'll give you one from a really long time ago, and it always kind of surprises people, but it's Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and it's by Richard Bach. He's the author, and they used to. I'm 57, so they don't make kids read this anymore. But here's the gist of the book: is Jonathan Livingston Seagull is a seagull, and seagulls don't have very exciting lives. They eat, they fly from here to there. They don't do anything. But Jonathan, he wanted to fly and do stunts, and he wanted to go out and see what was out there in the world. Well, when you grow up poor in Los Angeles and you think, is this it? Do I just have to stay here and accept my life as it is and be poor the rest of my life? Well, Jonathan Livingston Seagull taught me, no, I don't. I can go out and do other things. I can be anything that I want to be. And so that book had a huge impact on me. And then the second one is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because it gave me an example. I didn't like school very much. And so if the only path was to study hard, get a good job, get straight A's in school, and then work my way up the ladder and hope that I was in the good old boys club, I didn't know I don't think I could have done that. But Rich Dad, Poor Dad showed me a different way, that it didn't really matter about my formal education. It was how I educated myself outside of school, the mentors that I had, the people that had what I wanted, and that would share with me how they did it.
All right. So we will have the links to those books in the show notes of this episode for our listeners. Now, Jim, could you also share with our listeners what's the one thing that's going on in your life right now that you're really excited about? Either something you're working on to develop yourself or your people.
One thing that I'm really excited about is I have a book coming out in June, and like I said, I struggled in school, so I was a stutterer. I didn't write very well. So for me to write a book, I'm really excited and proud of the fact that I'm telling my kind of life story in the beginning, in my humble beginnings, and kind of where I am now. And then if I can do it, you can do it. And so I'm excited to share that message with people and give them the foundation of how to start today to change their lives.
Lovely. And when is your book being published?
It's coming out the 17th of June.
Nice. All right. So we will definitely ensure that we are able to keep in touch with you so that we will have first dibs on that book when it is released.
I would love that.
All right. Now, our listeners would have tapped into this episode and they're quite intrigued with what it is that you offer, Jim. They would like to get in touch with you. How can they find you online?
Absolutely. The easiest way is to just send me an email directly. It's Jim Oliver at Create Tailwind, all one word, .com. Or they can go to the community.createtailwind.com, and they can join the community, and they can send me a direct message inside of there. And I would love to hear from people in any way that I can help and serve your audience. I promise you, I will not drop the ball. I will help every single person that contacts me.
All right. Awesome. Well, before we wrap our episodes up, Jim, we always like to ask our guests, could you provide us with a quote or a saying that during times of adversity or challenge, you'll tend to revert to this quote? It kind of helps to get you back on track if for any reason you got derailed.
Well, one thing is there's an old quote that I changed. It was adversity introduces a man to himself. Now that's an old quote. So I say adversity introduces a person to themselves. And it reminds me that in the Bible, it says that we are going to have trials, and that trials, it says that those trials will introduce us to ourselves, that it will create confidence, that it will create strength, that iron that is, like that God is like stirring this pot of silver and getting rid of the impurities until he can see his reflection in us, right? And so getting rid of those impurities is adversity and obstacles, and they just make you stronger. They make you who you are. So when you're in the middle of it, just remember that adversity is going to introduce you as a person to who you really are, and it's only going to make you stronger.
Brilliant, brilliant. Love that, love that. All right. Thank you so much, Jim, for taking time out of your very busy schedule to hop on this podcast with us and share all of these amazing insights and, just about your journey, all the value and opportunities that you're offering to your clients. And so we really want to wish you all the very best, and we really appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Just want to remind our listeners that they can follow us on Twitter at NavigatingCX. And if you'd like to join our private Facebook group, it's Navigating the Customer Experience Community. So until next time, I'm your host, Yannick Grant. The ABCs of a Fantastic Customer Experience webinar. Our annual webinar will be hosted on Wednesday, July 26, 2023 at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please feel free to come and join us. It will be on the Zoom platform. We look forward to seeing you there. You can also visit our website. The link to join our webinar can be accessed on the show notes of this episode. It's going to be fantastic.
Thanks for listening. For more awesome resources to take your customer service game to another level, head over to navigatingthecustomerexperience.com. See you next time.